month for July. So what I'm looking at is just an element of a significant relationship. Doesn't have to be a romantic one, but it could certainly represent one that seems to be in challenge, is what I would say here. But anyway, we're looking at the main energy. So I'm looking at the Hierophant. We have the Six of Wands. We also have the Death card. Coupled with that as clarifiers is the Five of Cups, the Seven of Wands, and the Nine of Wands. And of course, outcome cards, World as well as Ace of Cups. So some very positive energy there, as well as some challenging energy. So, sorry guys, I'll just take you through sort of the rough idea of the cards first, then we'll sort of flesh it together and sort of tie things in. Again, everybody doesn't have to be going through this at this particular moment. This is just if it resonates for you. And also, certainly, some people will be going through some of this energy further out. You're all making different decisions, different times, all of that. So starting with the card of the Hierophant, of course, that does signify that somebody is following a lot of traditional values or believes in traditional values. This is somebody who definitely feels that there is, reason or purpose for love to fall in a structured form. They believe in marriage, they believe in contracts, they believe in strong commitment, those kinds of things. And it definitely does speak to very positive, pure intentions and that kind of thing. It's also a card of learning and growing, but within a structured environment and doing the things that you're supposed to do, that kind of thing, or what you would think somebody would or should do. But either way, it does stand for, in the more traditional sense, it's a card of marriage and commitment. So for sure, I would say somebody definitely sees that, they feel that way of you, that there is a long-term commitment in this connection, and certainly there are some challenges around it, however. I would say that this is more along the lines of, because it's almost representing as reverse in a sense, because we have the Five of Cups following. I mean, there's a disappointment in love. Somebody's not living up to a certain expectation around a commitment according to this person, whether this is you or another person. Take it again as it resonates, but it's a sign that somebody feels like they, that there's a certain level of insecurity around it, that there is not enough, there's too much challenge around it, around this commitment, and unable for this person to really feel, open enough and receptive enough to really rely on it. So I would say that, sorry guys, allergies. Anyway, even though there is a certain sense of values, it feels like those values are not in alignment. So somebody is kind of stepping outside of that balance there. As well, even in terms of, committed relationships, I feel like this person does feel like there is an element of that here where there is something to rely on. There's a certain amount of respect. There's a certain amount of, liking how the person presents themselves, that kind of thing. But again, it suggests that there is something, there's resistance around that. And like I said, I mean, the fact that we've got the Seven of Wands, it's still a sense that there's not enough of something here that is, sorry, sorry guys. But anyway, there's not enough of something here for the person to feel entirely confident about it. I think maybe at one point there was a certain level of, unbelievable. Oh my gosh, I got to take a drink of something. One sec here. Okay, so there was at one point a certain level of understanding where somebody felt that you were amazing and they could build on it, that kind of thing. They're really inspired by you. I mean, there's a certain level of feeling elevated and confident in what they were seeing here on the surface. This person would have seen you, if it is in a romantic situation, they would have seen you in more of a romantic way. Well, not romantic, I would say attractive, more of an attractive way. They would see that, your personality was attractive. You may have been, seen as attractive. If this is more of a neutral kind of situation where it's just not a romantic situation, this person would have regarded you with some degree of respect. There is a certain level of, feeling that this person is somebody to look up to, like I said, but there is a sense that that has been compromised maybe on some level. So let's just get right into the last part here, the last section, which would be the Death card, normally representing something as a level of transformation, something coming and going, ending, that kind of thing. But the Five of Wands indicates that there is, the Seven of Wands indicates that there is some kind of resistance or struggle going on here. So, like I said, I would say that overall, this person does have an underlying respect for you and sees you as somebody who is quite, admirable in a lot of ways. They really admire you, and there's certainly the underlying feeling that this person, senses that you, or you're thinking this of them, that this is going to be something favorable over the long haul. But right now, the energy that is currently being exhibited is one of defensive, very resistant, boundaries up, a little bit of anger here. I would say somebody is feeling a bit overwhelmed, maybe going through their own level of transformation, and so they can't really draw a lot of attention towards you or give you a lot of attention. They aren't getting what they want, or they're just not wanting it anymore, something along that line, because of that very defensive situation. And like I said, it is still somebody who's getting hurt or has been hurt by this connection here. And so there's walls that are up here. So whether this is you or another person, it does suggest that there's a lack of support in some way here. And that the feelings are, even though there's also a sense of mutual feelings, there's also a sense that the point of view is not conveying the same message. So there is some sense that people are not really connecting on their point of view. There could be something here along the lines of somebody wanting to sort of conquer in the situation or be more dominating in the scenario here. But this person doesn't really want to see themselves, whether this is you or another, as vulnerable. So I would say this is somebody that, battles through situations, and and like I said, there's a lot of emotional disappointment here. So I feel like there's an inability to kind of compromise or to, you know, reach that point of view where you're both gaining something. It feels like that, you or another person is feeling like they're losing. Let's see here. It feels like they feel like they're in a conquering mode. So, like I said, it feels like that's where the energy is there's more of a level of wanting to one up on the person or do better or be better or something along that line. And like I said, I mean, with the Seven of Wands, with the Hierophant, it's almost like there could be something around trying to protect or preserve something around the emotional front. Like they're challenged by what they believe to be true, and that seems to be that it's somehow upset the balance. Something around what they see to be true is no longer true. That's where there's some level of disappointment here. And like I said, I'm seeing that this person really wants to have more of a, because this combination here to me suggests that there is confusion about how to go forward and really reunite or reconnect on some level. There's a level of, yes, I admire, but no, I'm not letting you get too close. I've been hurt. So it's like you can't really go forward because there's just too many blockages here at this time. Again, doesn't have to be a love relationship, can be just a significant relationship to you, however this resonates. When we get to the death cards, death card with the Nine of Wands, again, there's a lot of resistance going through with some kind of a change. So I would say that you or this person, is accepting of a change, realizing that you're in the midst of a big change, a significant change, maybe a little bit scary for you because there's the Nine of Wands here, sort of in the last aspects or last relevant areas for this big change to occur. And again, some of you, it's going to last a little longer, a few months out with this person or however. Sorry, guys, one sec. Too many allergies for me. Okay, anyway, Again, even with the death card, it's still a sign of feeling ready to sort of shed past beliefs or ideas and behaviors, because they are holding this person back. Whether it's you or the other person, there's a transition that's going through, and it is, kind of letting the old version of somebody die off, whether it's you or yourself. There's going to be a rebirth of some sort here, especially when it's followed by the World card. Big change, big emotional change, especially with the Ace of Cups coming through. So this person is trying to understand something. And, again, it's because something about their idea, about their belief systems and all those kinds of things has been shaken. They've been disappointed in what they thought something was in around, strong value around commitment and structure, and that's what's in transformation right now. So again, there is a sense of commitment and wanting this, but also realizing that they have to embrace change. So they are going through that change, and it's kind of an ugly change because there is a lot of energetic, angry feelings, as well as feeling stuck, still working through it, not really stuck, but being held back in a certain sort of way. Again, they're still pushing through on an energetic level, but emotionally still feeling very sad. So they're trying to embrace this change and the mindset that's required to grow. But again, there's no solidified action in this month that tells me it's in that space yet. Could be self-esteem issues here with the Five of Cups also. But either way, it does still indicate that there is some sense of disappointment here in, what was, how something turned out. Again, we'll get into the world and all of that here too, but we'll just kind of, anytime there's a five, there's going to be some kind of a new cycle about, and that is what I see here. So again, Five of Cups is definitely indicating that there's an adjustment that this person is making around the idea of what they believe to be true. They're trying to reconfigure that idea. They realize that there's a need for change. There's a certain amount of uncertainty. So because of that, they have to, whether it's you or them, there's a certain amount of adjustment, and then they'll feel the freedom. But right now, they're still stuck in that level of challenge. And again, even with the Five of Cups, there is still a level of deep sorrow here with this, because it is almost magnified as a bigger amount of emotion, because I see the Hierophant out here in the Death card. So it's a really big transformation in that area of what they considered true in their belief systems and what marriage was supposed to be or is to be, that kind of thing. This is a setback around that belief system. So again, it's where they have to concentrate, whether it's you or them, concentrating on what's gone is gone, and just taking some time to kind of go through the grieving process and go through those unhappy memories, so that you are not clinging to, or they're not clinging to the old. This is something where there's not a lot of resolve in a quick way here. Well, I shouldn't say that, because there's a lot of wands here. It does feel like there is some solid movement, and it does seem, but it's very guarded. Around somebody isn't ready for advice. They don't want any kind of connection. They don't want any input. There's a lot of resistance there, and it could also be around somebody who is, like I said, there is a victory though around this. So they are making some kind of headway, whether this is you or them. But it's almost like I said, with the Five of Wands, there's a setback here. Emotionally, something that was, they were brutal honesty has kind of come through here, but they're in self-protection mode is what's happening there. So either way, when we get to the Seven of Wands, again, that's still speaking to 6 to 7 wands means there's some kind of a progression here, but you just have to wait this out, because there is, they're in the mode, you or them are in the area of finding some balance and harmony despite this phase of change. But you are moving into triumph over the challenge, or they are, and it just means that closer to the goal for sure, because we're at the Nine of Wands, and there is progression from 6 to 7, then a big transformation, and then it just jumps ahead right into the 9. So I feel like this is going to be bringing in a strong conclusion here, if not in this month. Well, shouldn't be this month, but soon further out because of the couple of cards that follow here. So whatever they're going through, like I said, it's drawing into a conclusion here. So when I see, especially when it's going from the 6 to the 7 and so on, this is a victory card. It definitely does speak to a level of a win, being really committed to a situation and trying to resolve it. They're not deviating from that. They're really just pulling back and guarding themselves until they can kind of figure out their side of things, whether this is you or them. And again, it's trying to find a deeper understanding, but it's also, they're willing to fight. They're willing to, you get in their face, there's going to be a challenge with that Seven of Wands card. So they don't mind taking the opposition, going up against opposition because they are in a mode of trying to figure out something that they feel requires singular thinking, not advice. I feel like this is somebody with a bit of an ego here, or working through an ego issue. But again, still very much protecting their heart. A little bit of stifled energy here with putting up this walls in regards to a relationship, but they are definitely trying to get a clearer picture of what they're dealing with. So again, looking at the death card, especially as feelings, there is some negative emotional feelings for sure, some negative patterns, but it is moving ahead into a more positive light. So there's still, you or them are still in this energy of they want to believe in relationships. This is not somebody who doesn't believe in relationships, because, followed or starting out with the Hierophant card, they believe in the value system, the structures, they believe in all of those things. But like I said, with the Death card, there's a certain level of change that's required on their behalf or your behalf. Sorry, guys, it's just going to go on. Anyway, but the transformation or this metamorphosis, however, is starting to awaken you or them to the situation. So, probably by the month's end, and maybe even a little further out, there is kind of a sense of a little bit of a forced change, and able to, release something. I don't see the release yet, but I do see that they're pushing through it regardless, especially with that Nine of Wands. So I definitely feel like there's going to be some kind of a transition or rebirth or something along that line where, it's a Scorpio energy, could also be relevant here as well, but it's a death and regeneration card. So change is definitely required. Change is up ahead here, and it's also followed by positive change. So the Death card in itself is resistant to change with the Nine of Wands, not really wanting to change their idea about something, very resistant, very oppositional, very argumentative. But I would say that they will be putting the past behind them here pretty soon here. If not this month, next month, I suspect there'll be some more significant barriers or walls coming down here, because right now there's sort of this energy of hanging on to something until the situation improves, because they still have the upper hand, whether this is you or them, and they still feel like they're making headway or progress, but letting go I don't see here just yet. There's no, even though it jumps ahead to the World card, some kind of conclusion, I don't see anything releasing and able to go into this. So they might still be struggling with whether or not they are going to release something, and that means they might be hanging on to this for another lesson, relearn on this, whether it's you or them. But I just don't see full release in this metamorphosis just yet. So I feel like it could be going through another lesson cycle, but it does look like there is another chance here with the World card. So something it jumps a little bit here. So I feel like there is some mode of change, but I don't feel like they're releasing the hurt exactly. It's maybe they're changing their idea about something, but the hurt is not really being released yet. This is a card of self-actualization, so really working on the self. It's also, kind of, maybe needing some assistance going through something, but not really accepting that. I feel like this person's really, whether this is you or them, as I said, it's kind of trying to move. I don't want to say move abroad, but something about the World card, it gives me a sense that there is it is a card of completion, but it's almost like trying to get more from, things at a distance, or really trying to look at things from a big picture sort of, not really looking at the small details, but trying to look at something from a bigger picture and able to understand the situation. So it's almost like that. They're not really working through the details so much as they're just trying to strike a balance by, going through the journey by looking at the big picture of the scenario first. And maybe that's where they need to find the harmony and the balance right now and able to find unity and then connect to the deeper self, right? But whether it's again you or them, but I'm also seeing that there is a new start here. So Ace of Cups, emotionally feeling that they have up ahead, they do feel like there is going to be some new start. There is going to be something that makes them feel as though there is a new beginning, a new love affair, or a symbol of love that the situation is starting to change. Again, there's some other cards that could be here that I don't really see. This is more general, big picture sort of thinking in my mind. And it's almost like the small steps are kind of being overlooked. So I feel like either they're jumping in with a new appreciation for a situation or something has stabilized it, but it's almost like there's a couple of cards or a few cards here that are missing, like the release and all of that. So I don't know if this is going to be a repeat of an energy or they're just trying to look for deeper meaning to life. And there's a new level of emotion, something like that. But either way, I mean, this is still a card of, acceptance and unconditional love on some level, or a new start in a situation. So again, I don't really see a lot of the progression cards here. There is a big transformation that'll take place here. But again, for me, I need to see all the other working cards and the Hermit and all of those kinds of things before I really see somebody has kind of made it into this new position in a healthy way. So otherwise it's like there's going to be some kind of a repeat of a scenario. So it is somebody who is ready for this new start for sure, and it definitely does look as though they want just like a whole new life or a whole new sense of a situation. But again, right now they're kind of looking at things from the bigger picture. They're trying to get an understanding of things in the world before they kind of look at maybe the micro details of a situation or a connection. So it's almost like they need to understand it that way first before they go back to figuring out a renewal of a situation. So there is going to be some kind of a renewal of that love energy. But again, it's almost like because there is a deep love here of some sort. But again, I still feel like there has to be some other working cards here, and able for this to be like a level of forgiveness or a level of, because the respect is there. There is an understanding that, they still have strong belief in the situation of love and connection and that kind of thing. But the Death card tells me, like I said, there's a big transformation that has to take place. I just don't see a lot of the other working cards. I see a lot of resistance. Anyway, that's where I see it right now. And hopefully in coming weeks, we'll see some other changes. But right now, that's where it sits. So that's what I have for you, Libra, for what's currently kind of going on. And again, it is ending up in more of a positive cycle. But sometimes, like I say, I mean, I need to see more of the integration for big change and able for that to feel like it's going to be a whole new set of, because this could be just kind of going into a whole new dynamic and just starting afresh, versus actual working energy to renew this. So there's some cards missing for me on that level. Anyway, that's what I have for you. We'll check back and we'll see how the energy plays out, but that's currently what's taking place.